Hey friends, I'm Sam from DIY Huntress, and this is my first house. Over these past few months, I, along with the help of my family and friends, have been on a journey to turn my first house into the home of my dreams, one DIY project at a time. Throughout this adventure, I'll be sharing tips, tricks, and DIY projects that can be tackled by anyone on any budget and on any timeline. This time around, we are focusing on the heart of this home, the kitchen. Welcome to my Kitchen Remodeler series. Let's get started. Hey friends, I am so excited about today's video because in today's video we are going to be adding tile backsplash to my kitchen. So if you missed the last couple of videos in this Kitchen Remodeler series, first we focused on demo, then we focused on adding cabinetry and countertops, and in today's video we are going to be tackling the backsplash. I'm really excited about this. I've been waiting for this moment for a while and I cannot wait to get some tile on this wall. So in today's episode, we're gonna be tackling tile options, how to calculate for how much tile you need, how to prep your walls for installation, and how to install and finish your tile work. So let's get started. Alright friends, welcome back to my kitchen. If you are new here, this is what my kitchen used to look like. But then my dad and I demoed the kitchen, removed a few walls, added some fresh drywall, hung some cabinets. We basically just did a bunch of work in this kitchen to get to this video right here. So if you missed out on all of that action, you can check out all of those videos on my channel. I've linked them below this video. But in today's video, we are specifically talking backsplash and I am so stoked about it. All right, friends, before I get too excited about jumping into this project, let's take a little moment to talk about project planning because that is a big question that people ask me whenever working on a big project. So in terms of the design, we knew that we wanted to go with a gray tile, but we weren't exactly sure what that meant at the time. So to help us visualize what we wanted in our space, I headed on over to the Home Depot website and I ordered a whole bunch of tile samples for our project. These tile range from porcelain to ceramic to natural stone to glossy to matte, to large format, small format, mosaic. The possibilities were endless. Whew, I'm like exhausted reliving that whole experience all over again because the possibilities are seriously endless on the Home Depot website. Now, once we had figured out what tiles we wanted for our project, we then needed to figure out the layout. And there are tons of different layouts that you can choose for a backsplash project in your kitchen. You could choose to go with a subway type layout, or maybe a stack bond, or chevron, or herringbone, or basket weave, or mosaic. There are tons of different layouts out there and they all look equally as awesome. So I highly suggest doing some research and maybe searching around online for some project inspiration before getting started with yours. For our project, we chose to go with a little bit of a taller formatted subway-like tile for our project. We're gonna be stacking these vertically on the wall because our tiles will be going all the way up to the ceiling, especially since we have a wall that doesn't have any cabinets. I cannot wait to see what this looks like because in my brain, I've just been like imagining this for a long time and I'm so excited about it. Another cool thing is that we were totally able to budget for this project pretty closely before getting started because the Home Depot offers a project calculator for all of their tiles so that you can calculate how much you need and how much that will cost you before getting started on your project. But now that we have our tiles picked out and we know the layout and I've already kind of measured everything out, it is time to start prepping these walls for the backsplash and I am so excited about this part of the project, so let's do it. Alright, so before I could jump on into actually tiling these walls, there were a couple of things I needed to do to prep the space. First and foremost, I wanted to cover those delicious looking counters so that I didn't ruin them. And I also wanted to wipe down all of the walls to prep them for the tile adhesive. Now in terms of materials, I used a lot, so I will link them all below this video so that you can check out my materials list if you want to do a project like this one in your own home. Okay, I am equal parts excited and terrified about this project. In terms of where I'm starting the tile, I originally thought I wanted to start at the end of the countertop because I'm not going all the way to the door, but the more that I look at the layout and do measurements, the more I'm convincing myself I'm gonna start under the window because if I start with the seam line in the center of the window, it matches up perfectly with the sink faucet. And then the measurements for when I have to make those like weird awkward cuts on each side of this window are gonna be symmetrical, and I think you're gonna see way more of that than you are the end of whatever's going on over here. And I know personally it'll bother me a lot if these cuts around the window are not symmetrical, and I gotta look at it every day. So I'm gonna start under the window. In terms of like where you start your project in general, this is kind of a personal preference thing. There is no right answer for this. It's more of a, what part of the wall are you seeing the most of, because that has to look the prettiest, you know? So I've already measured center. I know where I'm starting. I have to cut the first couple of pieces to fit under here. So that's not gonna be so hard. We're actually gonna go out to the wet saw and do that. I'm gonna measure this first, and then, yeah, we're gonna start tiling, so wish me luck. Okay, quick fun fact, the tile saw is actually the first power tool that my dad really taught me how to use by myself, and I've been hooked ever since. So tiling this backsplash was so much fun for me, and this tile saw made doing that an absolute breeze. But anyway, now first step in my project was to obviously cut the tiles as you see on my tile saw, and I started with the tiles that I needed for the center line under the window. And once I had a good handful of them, I then applied my adhesive directly to the prime drywall using the flat side of the trowel first, and then switching to the groove side to add grooves. Now this is something I talked about in my bathroom tiling video on my channel, but I really like back buttering my larger tiles because this just makes sure that the back of the tile is completely covered with adhesive or thin set or whatever it is that you're using to apply your tiles to your surface. And this is super important because the last thing that I want in this kitchen is for tiles to be flying off when I'm cooking dinner. Now, after getting that first row settled and making sure that everything was level, I then moved on to the sides of the window, and this is where I had to make my first funky cuts. And I just did this by marking and measuring where that frame was, mapping it all out on the tile, and then bringing the tile back out to the tile saw to make this weird cut. I nailed it. That looks so good. And it's level. It's level. Ooh, it's level. And it looks like a pro. Cut that piece. Yeah, I'm so excited. Well, now that you've heard my Grammy Award winning song about tiling my backsplash, a couple of things that I just wanted to mention. First, I wanted to work in some smaller sections because tile adhesive actually dries pretty quickly, so I really only used enough to do about 1 or 2 tiles at a time and made sure to wipe away the excess with a wet sponge. Also, when cutting tiles around outlets, you want to make sure you're leaving enough space for an outlet extender to fit, but because I needed the lights on when I was tiling, I was super careful to leave that space around the outlets and then attach the extenders later when I could shut the power off. But basically you want to cut it big enough for the extender and small enough for any spaces to hide under the outlet cover later in the process. All right, good morning. So yesterday it got a little too dark out too fast. I completely forgot how early it's gonna get dark out now, but all good. So because it got dark out, I couldn't see my tile saw anymore outside and decided to call it quits after getting a couple rows up. Honestly, I think today might go a little faster than yesterday because typically starting that first row can be a little tricky, making sure everything is level. So my goal today is gonna be to try to get most of this wall. I really wanna get all of this wall done, but I'm trying to be realistic with myself. Get most of this wall done today so that tomorrow I can start on the wall with the ovens. So it is 9 in the morning. I have somewhere to be at 2. So we're gonna hustle. I'm gonna pour myself some coffee and we're gonna do it. So let's get started. So just to put this into perspective, in terms of timing on this project, this entire backsplash project pretty much took me like 3.5-ish days to complete. And of those 3.5-ish days to complete, I spent one whole day just making sure that first row of tiles was perfect. So yeah, once that was done, the rest of this project moved so much smoother. just wanted to finish this wall today, and it's gonna happen. All I have to do is add my final pieces. So I decided to cut this tile into smaller pieces for the end, and then there are a couple different ways that you can actually decide to finish off the edge of your tile. You can use a metal border on the end, you can get a bullnose tile, or you can even like grout or caulk the end of the tile. So since I like this natural stone look, I actually decided to go with what might be an unpopular choice for this project. I actually decided to go with caulking the edge here because you're not really gonna see it on this particular wall anyway because it's kind of butted up against the door frame. And yeah, I think it's gonna look great. So I'm really excited about this. I'm gonna get these final pieces on the wall, and then this wall is done being tiled and we can move on to the other side of the kitchen and then grout all of the tiles. So I'm really excited. Let's do it. So there are many different ways that you can end the last row of tiles when doing a backsplash project, from trim to bullnose tile to caulking that matches the grout. I chose the last option and I'll show you how I did that in a little bit. Of course the last piece doesn't fit. So happy. All right, this wall's done. I'm hungry. Tomorrow we work on the other wall. Let's do it. Night, friends. Good morning, friends. I feel really short with the way that this camera's set up today. So last time we were in this kitchen, we finished that wall of tiles, and today we're going to be working on this wall of tiles. I actually pulled the oven away from the wall, so now I have to get a board back there so I can make sure everything is super level. And then once that's ready to roll, we're ready to roll. So I'm really excited about hopefully finishing tiling this kitchen today. So let's get started. Now, when working behind an oven, one thing I like to do is add a board to the back of the oven that is perfectly level with the countertops, and this just helps me to make sure that all of my tiles are not only level with the countertops, but they also won't sink while they are drying in the tile adhesive. This is a temporary board and it does come off the wall after the tiles have dried, but during installation process, it is honestly a game changer. But other than that one slight addition to this wall for this particular part of the project, the rest of this tiling was done the same exact way as the other wall. Friends, it is looking so exciting in this kitchen. I have tile in my kitchen. Can you believe it? So I got a lot of work done yesterday, but I'm still not done yet. So hear me out. Because we didn't add any cabinets to this wall here, we actually have something really fun planned for specifically this section above our coffee station that I cannot wait to show you in the next video. But because we decided to tile all the way to the ceiling on this back wall, I decided that it's gonna look weird if I don't tile to the ceiling on this wall as well, especially because I did hang my cabinets to a standard cabinet height so I can personally reach the top shelf because I'm really short. And because of that, as you can see now, I have some empty space above the cabinets and it just doesn't feel complete looking at that empty space. So I think I'm gonna go coffee shop chic and tile all the way to the ceiling above the cabinets. That way the entire kitchen feels super tall, it feels super uniform, and I think it's gonna look really cool. I'm actually super excited about it. Look, at some point I may add something else above these cabinets, but right now I'm so happy with the height and what they look like, and I really don't mind that empty space above them, but I do think that I need to fill them with tile, and I'm actually really excited to see what that looks like. So that being said, today is gonna be the last day of tile installation. I'm really excited to actually put the tile saw away, not because I don't love it, but mostly because that means that after today, I can grout all the tile and get those covers back on all of those outlets. And then the kitchen is really so close to done. I can finally feel it. So, all right, I do still have a lot to do. I have a lot of little cuts to make in order to get the tile to fit above the cabinets. So let's get started. So because my ready to assemble line of cabinets came in 36-inch height, I did have a little bit of space between the ceiling and the cabinet. At some point I may add some custom storage here, but for now I'm totally fine with how this looks, and adding the tile above the cabinet really made the kitchen feel so tall. Man, last piece. Ugh, I can't even explain how amazing it felt to get that last tile on the wall. And at this point, the tiling was done. I could let everything dry. And then the next step was to remove those spacers and get ready for grout. Wow, Sam, the tile in your kitchen looks so good. Who did you hire to do it? I did it myself. No, but for real, I'm really excited about the way that this tile backsplash turned out, and I'm even more excited because installation is complete. But for real, now that the tile install portion of this project is done, it is time to move on to some very exciting finishing touches. And today I'm going to be grouting all of those little seams and openings in between all of the tiles on the wall, as well as finishing up all of those edges that are against the counters and the exposed walls. So before I can get started though, I do have to do a lot of prep work, and I'm also going to tape off some clean lines against some of the counters and the cabinets and the ceiling. This is just gonna make finishing so much easier, and I know that future Sam is definitely gonna thank present Sam for all of her hard work prepping the space for this project. I just know it. If I say it enough times with a smile on my face, then it'll come true. That being said, once everything is prepped and ready to roll, we're gonna mix up some grout and get grout on these tiles, and then it's gonna look awesome. So let's do it. As much as I want to complain about how long prep work takes, it honestly saved me so much time to just tape off all of the seams and to make everything look super neat and to, again, just cover up whatever I didn't want to get any grout on. Now, in terms of picking a color for grout, for me, I knew I wanted to go with a gray that was slightly darker than the tiles that I used because I want it to kind of have that concrete look effect. But if you're unsure of what color you want to use, you can always grab a sample from the Home Depot. They have tons of different color options to choose from, and hold them up to your tiles and see what looks like it works best. When it came time to actually grout my tiles though, I did mix up some grout in a bucket with some water. I actually probably mixed up a little bit too much in this clip right here. I typically like to mix up a little bit at a time so it doesn't dry out. But once that was mixed up, I then applied it to my tiles with a float at a 45-degree angle, wiped away the excess with a wet sponge, and then also used a microfiber cloth to remove any excess grout after that. Now, one product that the Home Depot offers that I absolutely love is tile caulking that can exactly match the color of the grout that you use, and this is what I use to fill the gaps in between the counters and the tiles, as well as fill in the edges of those tiles that I spoke about earlier in the process that are at the end of my backsplash. And once that was done, the last steps were really just to add the covers back on my outlets, and this backsplash project was done. So not gonna lie, I really wanted to do one of those on-camera video outros like I've been doing in the rest of this kitchen series, but I was so stoked to get this project done that as soon as the backsplash was on the walls, I moved on to the next part of this project, which was finishing this kitchen. So we're just gonna get a bunch of beauty shots instead. It is unreal how amazing this backsplash made this kitchen feel. It feels so warm and inviting, and personally, I really feel like it hits the nail on the head with that coffee shop chic vibe. I'm so stoked to have this kitchen in my house. Now, while there is still a lot to do, it really is amazing how well this kitchen is coming together, and I cannot wait to share the final result with all of you. In fact, I actually didn't even show you the original kitchen next to these finished photos in this video because I want to do that in the next video as one big whole giant reveal. So if you love this video, if you have been as invested in this kitchen as I have been, I do hope that you will subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, because in our next video, I will be showing the full kitchen makeover reveal that I've been working on for the past year in my house, and I am so excited to share it all with you. In the meantime, though, friends, thank you as always for being here, for supporting what I do, for cheering me on with this major project. I feel the love from all of you every single day, and I cannot wait to celebrate this new kitchen with you all in the next video. But until then, friends, happy DIYing.